Welcome to the Sports Trading Card Hall of Fame. Today I want to talk about my second induction into the Sports Trading Card Hall of Fame's Binder of Fame, and that is the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle card. Primarily what I want to talk about here is the iconic nature of it, why it is revered the way that it is, because it's kind of weird. It's not his rookie card, and for a lot of people they think it is. And why is that? Well, that's because of the iconic nature. But on top of that, it's far more valuable than his actual rookie card. Why in the world would that be the case? There's absolutely no excuse for a card that was released later that doesn't necessarily have less cards out there in circulation to be worth more than an actual rookie card. But in the case of the 52 Topps Mickey Mantle card, it very, very, very much is. And that's because the 52 Topps Mickey Mantle is an iconic card. It's all about its iconography. And the iconography isn't necessarily accurate. It's actually kind of crazy. So that's the key. That's what I want to talk about. And let's start off with the fact that for a lot of people, they do view this as his rookie card. Now, in some cases, they literally view it as his rookie card because, in their opinion, Bowman wasn't a true modern card, and so they have this weird idea that 52 Topps and on is real cards that are worthwhile. Those people are wrong, by the way. But even for people who don't feel that way, unless you're really up on vintage cards, it can be easy to not even know that the Bowman card exists. And that's in large part because of how it looks. That 52 Topps Mickey Mantle card is very iconic. It looks like a rookie card. You look at the Bowman rookie card, it doesn't really look that important. I mean, it blends in with everything else. It's just another card, essentially. But the 52 card, no, that's different. That's a whole nother discussion. It absolutely does everything that you need for a rookie card to do, but it's also a part of an iconic and important card set. I do have to note, the 52 Topps card set, while an important card set, is not a game-changer card that reshaped the hobby. It's just the first card of Topps' new way of doing cards. But for us, when we look back and we look at the heritage of the cards that we know, that's the begin date, because it's the first card that does all the things that we're used to cards doing. And so for us, that is day one. That is the rookie card set for modern cards. And for that purpose, when we look at a Bowman card, we don't really relate to it. It seems like it goes back with Play Ball and with Cracker Jack and all those old cards from the past. It just doesn't seem like it's supposed to be a part of the conversation. So for a lot of people, when they look back and they see that card, it's relatable. They get it. It does all the things that they need to do. It has all the feel. It's everything that an iconic card is supposed to be. And it feels like the begin date. So for a card set that's essentially the rookie card set for the hobby, well, you look at the big classic card in there, Mickey Mantle, and it seems like a rookie card. It just fits. Everything about it fits. And it also does a great job of standing as a beacon way off at the beginning of cards, shining out across all the rest of cards, where we can look back at that and go, okay, yes, that's the begin point. And thus, that card stands as the great early modern card, the ultimate early modern card. A big part of that is the fact that it is a card of the greatest baseball player of all time. Now, whether he is or is not isn't the point. The point is that he has that stature. And because of that, when we look at that card, we see the greatest player of all time in what is quite nearly his rookie card in the great card set that's important. And all those pieces go together for the card to be a truly monumentally important card, or at least seem that way. But that's not the entirety of the story, because there's another component, which is that for us, when we look back, we also see this as the era when our parents, Gen X's parents, which is the baby boomers, the time when they were growing up and collecting cards. It's that fanciful time of when kids were dumb enough to do all the wrong things with their cards. Putting them in bike spokes, taping them or pinning them to the wall, drawing on them, just doing all sorts of stuff, because to them they were toys, which is exactly what they are. They were doing exactly the things they should have been doing. And so we look at this card and we say, okay, this is one of those cards that was underappreciated by these dumb kids who thought of these things as toys. Wouldn't it be great to find their actual copy of this card? But here's the thing. It actually wasn't a card that baby boomers had. Let's do a little bit of math. So, baby boomers are the kids who were born after World War II. Basically, their parents came home from the war, or their dads came home from the war. They got back in touch with their moms, and everybody was so happy that they, we'll just say they celebrated a lot. 9 months later, a bunch of kids started popping out. So the early baby boomers were born in 1946. So if you were born in 1946 and a card set came out in 1952, that would make you 6 years old. No 6-year-olds are collecting cards. Well, very few, and you probably don't want 6-year-olds collecting cards. Maybe, but it's kind of rough. So the thing is, a 1952 card was actually old for baby boomers. That was in the past. They weren't interested in that as much, which means that these cards don't even fit into our idea of these were the cards that our parents were collecting. This was collected by the kids from a generation before. Tail end of it, that is true, but still, it is from a whole different aspect of the card space. So even when it is a part of the iconic nature of that classic time when baby boomers were growing up collecting cards, it actually doesn't even fit into that narrative. This card does everything in an iconic stature, and that's all that it is. It is just iconic and incredibly iconic. And we needed that. We needed some card that could stand as that definition of this weird lost time of cards that is really tough to make your way through. And the card did everything it needed to hold us up. Now we are moving into a new era, and now with the new era and a new collection of people who are engaged in cards and a new look at the world, Michael Jordan's rookie card is taking over that role. It is becoming that card, or I guess you could say it's already become that card for the next generation of collectors. And that's perfectly fitting to the 1952 Mickey Mantle, because the 52 Mickey Mantle was a card from a certain time that did a certain role for a certain period of collecting. And it was not for the actual 50s and 60s or the 70s, and to an extent for the 80s. It was for the late 80s and on, for the time when the card industry exploded. And we needed that card that could stand in for all of us to really give us a center point and to guide us. Now as we're moving into a new era, it's fitting to hand the baton off to somebody else, because for the 52 card, it was just iconic and it represented one transition. Now we're in a new era. We need to have a new icon. We need to have a new way of looking at cards and different aspects of the cards. And let's just face it, whether you want to admit it or not, 1986-87 Fleer is technically vintage. It actually is vintage cards. It was still fairly underproduced, not at the level necessarily of the 87-88 set, but the thing is that compared to just a couple years later, it was way underproduced. It was a more rare card, an underappreciated card that slipped through the cracks. The quality control on it is just terrible, and it fits everything that a vintage card would need to have. It does have the old card stock. Well, it has a moderate card stock, and so it actually does all of the things that Mickey Mantle was supposed to do, including being the card that Zoomer's parents were collecting. I hate to admit it, but it does that as well. So it is good to see a changing of the guard, but the Mickey Mantle card is always going to stand as that standard bearer of a certain time, but now it has its place on the shelf. So you have Honus Wagner, you have Mickey Mantle, and now you have Michael Jordan. You actually have a tiering system of great cards over time that all do their own job of leading us forward, guiding us, and being those beacons that help us to really see the whole scope of cards. So I'm going to bring it to a close here, and I want to thank you for sitting down with me and going through this story, this exploration of the nature of this card. I have fun with some of these topics like this, where you get to really explore different aspects of a card that you wouldn't necessarily have thought of. And to me, I thought this was a really cool way to look at this card. So definitely, yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I hope that you did too. So now, I have talked about many other topics, and I will be doing so as well. If you haven't checked those out, I do urge you to check out some of the other topics where I've been exploring different cards. And obviously, I'm going to be having a few coming out very soon. If you haven't subscribed, I do urge you to do so. And yeah, other than that, thank you very much for watching.